Good morning, Stephen Whiteside here with today's edition of Stock Market Timing Television for Monday, March 17th, 2014. Coming up to 9 a.m. on the East Coast, and stock index futures are sharply higher this morning. S&P futures up 10, Dow futures up 89 points. Gold and crude oil are fairly close to unchanged at the moment, so not a lot of volatility in the commodity markets this morning, but we are looking for a pop in the stock market at 9:30 Monday morning. Let's start off this morning's presentation with a quick look at a couple of weekly charts. Let's spend 2 minutes and take a look at a couple of weekly charts here, starting with the VIX for the S&P 500. Now, the VIX, or the Fear Index, was up over 26% last week, and it got us up over 17, close to 18, but it didn't take us out of the range that we've been trading in for quite a while now. And so we need to take out last year's highs before you really start to see any fear creep into the stock market. You'll see that bond traders, bonds have been trading up for the past month or so, but last week was actually an inside week. So even though bonds were up nearly 2%, we really don't have a new long-term uptrend starting in the bond market. And looking at the Japanese yen, you can see back in 2011 where the Japanese yen peaked up here, that corresponds with the low in the stock market. And then you see that the Japanese yen has been declining for the last couple of years. And while last week was a positive week for the Japanese yen, it ended up being an inside week, and we still don't have a long-term trend change on the Japanese yen. And if we don't have a long-term trend change in the Japanese yen, we don't have a long-term trend change in the stock market. U.S. dollar has been treading water for quite a while. It's in a downtrend at the moment, but has not taken out the recent lows. And there we have the stock market. And if we go back to 2011, of course, this is where the Japanese yen was peaking and the stock market was bottoming out. And we've had a long-term uptrend since then. So we're not seeing a lot of warning signs on the weekly charts for the Dow, S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell, or ZAX. No major early warning signals there. We're expecting a pullback. We're expecting a market top here, but so far we don't have any signs that that's actually happening. Let's drill down and take a look at some daily charts. Well, historically, Mondays are usually pretty good days for the stock market, so it looks like we're going to see a pop at the open. You can see on Friday that the VIX moved sharply higher, and we've certainly broken above this top of the open gap here and the previous resistance. So that's no longer in play. That's been taken out. And so the first sign something new is happening is if the VIX starts trading below Friday's low, and the low is at 1609. You can see that to generate a new sell signal for the VIX on Monday, we need to close below 1420. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but certainly we're going to see some buying at the open. We saw bonds try to take out the previous high, couldn't do it on Friday. Similar situation for the Japanese yen. U.S. dollar couldn't take out the previous low, so no major changes on Friday. And then, of course, we've got all the major indexes on sell signals. The Dow actually traded below the previous low from a couple of weeks ago, while the S&P 500 did not test it. We saw some weakness in the NASDAQ, so just like the Dow, we traded below that low from a couple of weeks ago. Inside day for the Russell, inside day for the ZAX Microcap. We saw bank stocks generate a sell signal on Friday. We saw credit card stocks continue to trade lower. So we've got all these indexes on sell signals, and so we're going to have to wait and see how Monday closes to see if they get anywhere near buy signals on Monday. Inside day for the energy sector, copper stocks traded slightly higher on Friday. Fertilizer stocks traded higher. Looking at gold and silver stocks, they continue to move higher on Friday. Home construction, inside day there. Inside day for the semiconductors, and an inside day for transports. And utilities on a buy signal right now, and looking to see if it can go up and retest the previous high. But with the stock market moving up in the pre-market this morning, we're not expecting that to happen on Monday. Next up, let's take a look at the commodity ETFs. Copper had an inside day on Friday. Gold moved higher. A little pullback in platinum on Friday into the channel. We had a pop in silver on Friday up to the top of the open gap and then reversed. It's technically on a buy signal. I'd prefer not to trade it at the moment. We need to close below 2024 on Monday to give us a sell signal for the SLV. We saw crude oil move up on Friday. We saw gasoline move up. A close above 59.88 would give us a buy signal on Monday, and a fairly quiet trading day on Friday for natural gas. Let's finish off this morning's presentation with a quick look at a couple of 60-minute charts. I don't expect any trend changes on Monday. The big thing we're looking for is to see how the market closes. You can see that we started to break down below the flypaper channel into the end of last week. We found support at the 200-hour moving average. We found support at the 1843.75 level. We talked about the fact that lots of buying came in around there previously. So now we look one line up is 1851 and change, and then 1859.38. That's two lines up, and so if we're up 7-8 points in the pre-market this morning, that certainly gets us over the 51 level, but not over the 59 level. And if we look at the hourly right side chart, you can see we need an hourly close above 1861.80. Now this is a very negative looking chart. We had a high and then a series of lower highs. We had a low and then a series of lower lows, and so it does look like we're going to have to go down here and test this low before we're really going to find a bottom in this market. Of course, we could take out that low, and that would certainly be a tell that we're going to be heading much lower. But we still have room to go on the downside. Now, the NASDAQ actually got down to that level on Friday and tested it. And so, again, we're looking at a very bearish chart. We had a high and then a series of lower highs. We had a low and then a couple of lower lows. And so that's a very bearish looking chart. And so for the NASDAQ 100, an hourly close above 36.8818 would give us a buy signal on Monday morning. These levels, both on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100, are both going to continue to decline throughout the day. Okay, folks, that's all for this morning's presentation. If you're coming into this morning and you've got daily or weekly sell signals to deal with, then congratulations. You get to sell into strength this morning. I don't really care much about how the market opens this morning. I care about how it closes this afternoon, and we'll have to see if the pros can continue to maintain the buying that they're doing in the pre-market this morning into the close this afternoon. Have a great day, folks. I'll be back tomorrow morning to look at the Canadian market, and I'll be back on Wednesday morning to look at the U.S. market. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon.